Good morning, folks. Thanks for joining us for another Simply seminar today. Today is going to be about travel essentials, brought to us by our friends at Logix and Furrow. Logix is a BC company which Simply has carried since the beginning. They make a lot of really smart accessories for Apple products. They're a great value, well made, and they have a very excellent no-hassle warranty. Best of all of our awesome people at Logix have given us some great prizes to give away. So stay till the end of the webinar and we're gonna have a draw for some lucky attendees to get some really cool products. So just a couple of things. We got some great Logix travel accessories, power banks, like for our phones and other little goodies here as well. These are MagSafe products and we're gonna be talking about those as we kind of go through the seminar, and some great Furrow charging pads too. So stick around, we're gonna have some fun on this and we're going to see what we can do to make traveling with our Apple products a little bit more hassle-free with our friends' products. All right, so what we're gonna kind of start off with is when we're traveling. I've been traveling around, through Southeast Asia, and I've kind of run into some little scenarios over my time. I like to play in places like Taiwan and Seoul and Japan and places like that. And I bring a lot of kit with me, especially the phone. The phone is quite kind of what I use to basically stay connected in these different places that I'm going. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can use the wallet in Apple to kind of hold our flight and boarding passes. We're going to talk a little bit about eSIMs and SIMs in general when we're kind of traveling around. So I'm going to start there. Apple has given or has a digital wallet system in our iPhones. It's a great product that really kind of helps us kind of keep track of a lot of our boarding passes. One of the first things that I know I'm going to have to do with me flying with Air Canada is I'm going to have to basically do a pre-board. So once I've kind of signed into my carrier's website and I start the book-in process, usually about 24 hours before we're getting ready to leave, as we're creating that boarding pass and finishing out those forms, one of two things is going to happen, or maybe even both. Depends on the carrier. For example, when I'm going with Air Canada, once I sign in and start my boarding process, at the end of that, I am given two different things that I can do for the boarding pass. One of them happens to be emailing the boarding pass so that they can scan it when you get to the airport. And the other thing is that there will sometimes be a add to Apple Wallet feature on the carrier's website. If that is available from the carrier, selecting that button will deposit your boarding pass into your wallet on the phone. You'll then be able to see that boarding pass come up in the wallet, and you'll typically use that to scan it at the terminal or through one of the assistants at the counter when you're boarding. It's really kind of handy because it means you don't have to wait in that line to talk to an attendant to kind of get all of your luggage sorted out in that regard. So I really highly recommend it. And you've got to just double check with the airlines first to see if they do add it. Most of Canada's do it, as do Eva Air and a few others as well. So a very handy way. And then just making sure that you've got your phones fully charged in that regard. So I generally really recommend having it in your wallet and also printing out an email just in case something goes goofy with your phone or you'll lose it or something along those lines. We don't want to have our trips interrupted due to something like that. The other side is about how we get SIM cards and SIM plans onto our phones as we're traveling. In my upcoming trip to Southeast Asia, I'm going to be spending some time in Taiwan and I'm going to be going to Korea and maybe even Thailand. Um, so one of the things that, because I'm going to be there for a while, I'm really want to kind of have a good data plan um, from whatever city I'm going to. So in my particular case, I'm going to be spending some time in Taiwan, and I plan to go to one of the carriers there and see what kind of plans that they have. And they're going to offer it in one of two ways. The first way, which is the traditional way, we will have a little physical SIM card in our phones that we can remove and then add from the new carrier, or with some of the newer phones from the iPhone XR and up. This is when they added a new feature called eSIMs. And the cool part about eSIMs is that you can have, at least for Canadian phones, there's a big distinction here. The eSIMs allow for an electronic SIM to be installed into the iPhone, and that leaves the SIM card from like the physical one available so we can put it in from one of the carriers that we're visiting. So in my particular case, I am a Freedom Mobile customer, and in Canada, I have opted for an eSIM from Freedom on my phone. That means that my physical SIM card slot is available for me to put something in from Taiwan Mobile or one of the offerings from the airport that I'm going to be visiting. So in that particular case, that's going to be a very excellent way to easily add that on there. I'm going to be needing to be connected quite a bit in Taiwan, as I'm going to be driving scooters, and I want to make sure that I'm using all the cool kind of apps that Apple has available, such as Apple Maps, translation, and some other great systems that Apple has on their phones and iPads as well. With that, I'm going to try and just quickly show you a couple of things about how how Apple Maps and the translator software can help you when you are traveling abroad. I really like the translation stuff, and I'm going to show you here in a moment on my iPad about how that works. So I am going to try and connect to my iPad here. So I've taken the liberty here to open up a couple of a website that is all in Mandarin in this particular case, because where I'm going, that is where they're going to be, that's the primary language there. So if you see up on the screen here, in Safari, we have a little text box right up by the where it says ionics.com.tw. And you'll see those two little A's in the right corner. That is kind of what we are interested in here when we are looking at websites that might be in a different language. Because our phones have location services on it, if I happen to be visiting a certain country and my phone picks up like, hey, I'm in Taiwan, well, what we want to try and do now is all the web pages might come up with that language. So in this particular case, we can use the translator feature to turn this web page that's in Mandarin to English. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to tap the AA button in the corner here, and you will see that it will drop down with some options. And obviously the one that we are looking at is the translate to English feature. I'm going to click the translate to English, and you will see that all of the menus and some of the web pages in here have translated. There are times when there is not, let's say, web pages in the particular country that I'm visiting that have English versions. And this is a kind of a handy way to show those particular websites that you're visiting. Whether it's booking hostels or anything else like that, this is a very handy way to kind of work it. To go back from this and view the original content, we select that same little spot up in the top of Safari, and we can select this to view the original again, and you will see that the web page then gets translated back to its original language that it was sorted with. So this is a very handy way to kind of work, and I just wanted to show you this when you are visiting travel websites. That same translation feature can be in anything that has text. So if you've got messages, or if you've got some notes that were given to you in a particular language, you can translate that as well. The next thing we are going to show is Apple Maps, which is very, very handy because you can get some of these sites up and kind of plan your trip a little bit. And this is all about dropping pins. So you'll see here, I'm just going to type in Taiwan in Apple Maps. Well, if I could actually spell it, let's try that again. Taiwan. Let's click search, and then Apple Maps will take us to Taiwan. So I'm going to be visiting Taipei and kind of having a nice little scooter trip around the country. So that's going to be lots of fun. So as I've been kind of traveling around, I can start to pick various sites that I might want to see. For example, the Taipei, well, municipal stadium's not all that great, but what we can say is different travel sites. Like there's, where are we going here? This whole river section here, or the Taipei Expo Park. This is a kind of a really cool area where they've got lots of things to do. The point is that whatever you're looking for in Apple Maps, whether it's on the phone, the computer, and the like, we can actually save pins in here. And we can also get some information about the site that we want to see as well. And dropping a pin is very easy. It's just a matter of putting your finger on here, and where it says Taipei Expo Park, we can select more and then add to favorites. When this is now added to favorites, it means that if I go to the favorites in Apple Maps, I can start to create a list of different places that I want to visit, including recent section as well. Additionally, the other reason why I wanted to use Apple Maps and start putting my locations in here, Apple Maps also acts like a Garmin. So one of the things that I, or basically for directions. So because I plan on traveling around Taipei and whatnot, I can start to choose different places, like the airport, if I want to take my scooter there, and I can actually get directions, right? So details, phone number, and add to favorites. And if I want to get directions, there we go. I want to choose driving, and then any 2 points that I might want to get directions for. Let's say Chiang Kai-shek Memorial. Let's see if that pops that up. Let's get back to Taiwan. And we're going to choose the airport, and this will call up a few more pieces here. Oh, directions, there we go. When I select directions here, basically it's going to ask me from one site to the next. So my location, well, we're not going to use my location because I'm in Vancouver, and that's going to be a hell of a drive. So we're going to add a different location, and I'm going to say something like, let's see here, Taipei 101. There we go. So in this particular case, you'll see that Apple Maps happens to show the the destination and the starting point. and the best driving directions at this particular time. So you'll notice on the left-hand side, if I'm going to drive or take transit or anything else like that, you're going to be able to kind of call these up. And once I select go, it's going to pretend that I am driving from Taipei 101 to Zhongshan Airport. And this also is going to, if you're an Apple phone user or you have an Apple Watch in that regard as well, this is basically going to give you driving directions for both the phone and on your watch. So if you are driving or taking a cab and whatnot, you can basically see this as we're working through. All right, so I'm going to kind of move on from this particular point here, but I just wanted to show you those really two cool features that we can use our phones to do. Now, let's just stop the sharing here of my screen, and we're going to move back to this shiny old face here. Okay, so one of the other things that we're going to move on to is I just want to touch on backups. This is a very important thing because as we are traveling, stuff can happen, whether it's with our Mac, with our Macs, PCs, our phones, iPhones, and the like. I always want to kind of recommend that folks that are traveling with their iPads and iPhones, that they use iCloud backup or something along those lines to make sure that those phones are backed up before travel. The reason is if you happen to have your phone and you have an accident with it and you break it while traveling abroad, you can go to an Apple store or any other Apple authorized service center, which I have personally done before, and get a replacement phone in a pinch. So the important part here is to make sure that your travel is not really interrupted, is to make sure that you do have iCloud backups for your phones and iPads so that you can restore them in a pinch. If you're traveling with your Mac, computers, we always like to recommend that you are bringing some hard drives along with you as well. So G-Tech's a pretty solid, if I get it in focus, there we go. Well, spoke too soon. We can bring these along with us, and they are very solid and durable drives. So they'll take a bit of a beating on the road. And then last but not least, SSDs, because they're a little less susceptible from being banged around and whatnot. So our friends at G-Tech will, we've got some great solid products for our travel purposes there as well. Now, with all of our cool kit that we're bringing, one of the biggest challenges is I've got a whole bag that I used to travel with that had all sorts of cables, all sorts of batteries and charging kits and everything else like that. And this is where our friends at Logic have some outstanding products that are going to help make our traveling a little bit more easier and a little lighter as well. I used to travel with a whole bunch of these crazy batteries, one for my computer, a traveling kit for my computer and all this kind of stuff. And it got to be a really heavy kind of scenario where I've got a big heavy bag for my carry-on. So they've come out with some really cool products of late. This time around, I wanted to have a battery that's going to be able to charge all of my devices, including my computer. So Logix has a lot of really cool products in the travel category, and it all starts with their Logix World Traveler Plus. The reason why I like this one is that it does have all the different cables that you're going to need to connect your products. But this one also has a USB style charger for laptops, specifically for the up to 65 watts in this particular scenario. So it's got both a USB-C connector, a USB-A connector, and a quick charge for the laptop as well. So this is a great way a great thing to bring with you, particularly if you're traveling to different countries. This will have pretty much all the connectors that you're going to need in here to connect to the different electrical systems as you're traveling. and then connect all of the different types of phones and gear that we're going to be bringing around with us as well. So that's the first part. The next part is about some of the Logic's piston power banks. And they've come out with some really cool products here that is a little bit, they've got some products for everybody and different devices. So that's going to start off with the piston power bank 10,000. This is meant to charge essentially one or two devices at the same time. And it's going to provide about 18 watts. So this has got essentially about 25 hours worth of power in this. This one's going to be pretty solid for if you're just kind of traveling with like maybe an iPhone, some AirPods or something like that. So this is a really excellent product for that. For those that are traveling with a few more larger devices, Logix now has the Piston Power 20,000, and they make them in two types. There is the Piston Power 20,000, which is this product. It has 22 watts on here, so this is great for charging up two devices, let's say, at the same time. So as on the back here, we've got the, come on, focus, there we go. A computer and a phone connected simultaneously to this. And it's a fantastic setup for that. And it gives us a little bit more hours worth of juice in these battery packs to power our devices as we're around. So in my particular case, traveling around the island via scooter, I'm not going to be connected to power all the time. So I'm really happy to have this battery pack around as well. For those of you that are laptop users, iPad users, and iPhone users who have a few more devices that you're going to be traveling with, the Piston Power 20,000 Pro is what I'm going to be traveling with this coming trip. And the primary reason for this one, I get to charge my phone and my iPad and other accessories. But more specifically, this particular one, the Pro, delivers 65 watts. So for you laptop users out there, like the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, that are the 13-inch ones that are traditionally wanting to have the 65-watt power supply with quick charge, this is the product for you. So if you're traveling around, you got your laptop, let's get the reflections. There we go. Wow, there we go. I'm going to have to fire my camera guy. Apparently the autofocus is not that fun. The idea here is that this is going to power my laptop. Now, it's not something we've had here for a while. So even if you're a laptop user traveling around and you're in a cafe somewhere or just stuck in an airport and everybody's using up the chargers, this is the product for you. Okay. One of the other products that's really kind of cool that goes along with the Logix World Traveler and the power bank is the Furrow 3-in-1 charging pad. I've got an Apple Watch, I've got an iPad, and I have my AirPods that I'm going to be using as well. And I really don't want to be carrying all these different cables with me. It's an absolute drag. And, that just adds more weight to things. And it's also a bit of a spaghetti nightmare when you're trying to, if you've only got one plug in your hostel that you're staying in or something like that. What I really love about this is, and what I'm planning to do with this is all my products are wireless. So I've got the AirPods, I've got my phone, and I've got my watch. This folds out into a little pad that has charging for all three products. It's compact, and if used with the power piston, this is a great combo because even if I'm out in the road and I need to charge these from the power bank, I can connect this to the Logic Piston Pro and charge all of my devices simultaneously from that. And I can do that at least 3 times, if not more. So I'm super stoked to try this out, and I'll have to report back with some findings. I initially tested this here in the shop with Robert, and this was a really outstanding product, like a really space saving kind of thing. So you just need a cable, a power brick, or the World Traveler Plus from Logix, and then you're off to the races. So that's the really outstanding product. The other thing is we've got lots of iPhone users that have iPhone 12s, 13s, and 14s. This is when Apple added the the MagSafe feature to a lot of their products. And Logix had some really cool products that they've given away, that they've provided. And the two that I'm kind of really stoked on is if you want to keep this light and you're only dealing with the phone, and if you don't want to have all that extra cables around, Logic now makes a Power Piston 1000 mag. And what this is a little battery pack that actually magnetically holds itself to the back of the phone. Now, that is really what it's going to be useful for is traveling in a fanny pack, right? You put this and the battery in there, you'll know that your Apple phone is going to be completely charged up as you're using it. So in my particular case, I might be on the road with the scooter for about 8 hours, nowhere near electricity. And something like this would be fantastic and fit into all the compartments in both my baggage and in the scooter as well. So that one's a pretty outstanding product. And we got about like 25 hours worth of juice on this as well. So come into the shop and check this out and see for yourself. And in a similar kind of setup, Logix also has a smaller a piston power 5000 fans. And that's this product. So one of the things I'm kind of stoked about this one, it's got a little bit less power on this one, but this actually on the battery pack itself will be a stand as well. So if you are, at your, there we go. Come on, focus. There we go. Beautiful. With this product, you're going to be able to magnetically hold your phone to this stand that also has the battery pack in it as well. So again, very light, very small, and this would be a great product to kind of travel around with as well. There's a lot of great features here from Logix and their power sides and for traveling accessories. That's going to be pretty outstanding. They've got one more thing here that I really kind of wanted to show as well. Is there is the Logix Power Plus 65 watt Excel. And why this one is pretty cool is, again, I want to try and keep things light and easy as I'm traveling. And this is one of those charging products that will connect 3 devices at the same time. Now, it's not a battery pack, but it means that if you're going around the country and whatnot, it supports quick charge, and you'll have a USB port and 2 USB-Cs. The normal USB-C port will basically charge your iPhones and other USB-related products. But the big one that I really like on here as well is there we go. The one that I really like on this one as well is that it will also charge the laptop. So this is giving us enough ports to connect all of our devices as well. So one less thing, instead of bringing a power supply for your iPad, a power supply for your phone, and a power supply for your laptop. With this one, you'll be able to bring just one charging device and be able to charge all of your devices. Again, it's only up to 65 watts, so this would be great with 13-inch and 13-inch MacBook Airs, MacBook Pros, and some of those older devices that are USB-C. All right, so that's actually a really cool one to bring along with you. And again, all this stuff is going to kind of keep your tech travel package a little bit lighter in that regard. I'm kind of being a little bit more selective with my travel packs this time. And one of the other things I'm going to be traveling around with is a Herschel fanny pack. We got some of these here at the shop and in our different locations as well. And this is where I'm going to basically keep all of my tech. Um, Everything from the cables, the power bank. This particular one's going to be able to carry everything that I want, and it also um, basically carry everything that I want. And it's got just enough room in here for my um, devices and or tiles or even air tags in here as well, which we're going to cover in a moment. So that's a great one, small, light, and easy enough to kind of wrap around and bring it along with you. That brings us to one of the other things for traveling as well, which is going to be Apple's AirTags. Myself, I am going to be configuring, I've picked up a 4-pack, and I've got a lot of really cool little accessories for connecting it to my luggage and for connecting it to my little side bag as well, especially my hiking pack as well. That's something I do not want to lose. So making sure you've got those connected to the phone ahead of time is going to be a really great way to manage your devices in that regard. One of the things with the AirTags that I really do like is I get a little forgetful. I'm rushing out the door and whatnot. And one of the things that I usually forget will be, something like a key or a little side bag that I'm leaving the apartment with. And one of the things that I like about the AirTag system is that if I leave my apartment and I've left a key piece of kit at the house, my phone or device will kind of go, "Hey, you just left your hotel without your iPad or you without your keys," or something along those lines. And if you have that set up, your phone is basically going to let you know, like, "Hey, you've left here without this device." And it'll give you a time to kind of go back to the apartment or the house and basically get that collected so you can go on through the rest of your travels. I think that's kind of all the cool tech and toys that I've got up for grabs here. So we're going to open this up for a little bit of Q&A now. And just a reminder as well, again, Logix has given us some really cool prizes. So stick around to the end and we'll be drawing somebody and, get you set up with some cool tech. All right, Rob, take it away.
Thanks, guys. So I've done my best to answer a couple of questions as we've gone along. But if you have any questions, please pop them into the Q&A section, and myself and Seabass will do our best to answer them. Just very quickly for Eleanor, yes, Eleanor, we do sell AirTags at Simply Computing. We sell them, they're $39.99 each and $129.99 for a pack of 4. We also have a great range of accessories specific to travel, as well as animals, dogs. So yeah, come and check it out. I'm sure we've all seen the benefits of AirTags in news articles recently, but I couldn't live without mine. So if you have any questions, pop it in the Q&A and we'll answer. All right, so Eleanor's asking about travel converters. Now, we will be giving one away, but if Seabass, if you can elaborate a little bit more on this one.
There's a couple of different types of converters. For most of the power supplies that you plug into this, the World Traveler Plus from Logic is a converter to convert the different plugs as you're traveling. So like there might be some different connector styles in Europe, in Asia, the UK. So this product allows you to kind of convert the, come on, there we go, focus, there we go. This product allows us to convert the correct ends that we want. But I just wanted to talk about the power supply requirements. It's always a good idea to check your power supplies. They'll have some electrical ratings on the back of them. What I can speak to is Apple's chargers work both in North America for the 120 voltage and also the 220 voltage, meaning that if you're in countries that do have different power requirements, um, most of those chargers will switch and automatically convert. For those power adapters that don't know how to switch between 120 or 220, that is where you might have to go to a traveling, like a travel store or an electronics store that has converters to convert from like the European standard power to North American and vice versa. That's where I would probably go with that as far as the converters are concerned. But as far as the connection styles, the World Traveler Plus is a great piece for that.
Thanks, Seabass. Yeah, so there's a couple questions actually, and I'm actually just gonna pick Bonnie Jeans out here because this one's super relevant, and I know most of us, myself included, at some point would have fallen victim to this. So Bonnie's question is airplane mode on my phone all I need to avoid extra charges in the US? So Bonnie's really inquiring about the roaming capability of an iPhone. So if we could comment a little bit on that, Seabass.
Yeah, that's actually, I have had one hell of a whopper of a phone bill a couple of trips back, because I wasn't paying attention to which data service I was using in that particular time. So one of the things I generally recommend is one of two things. As for me, I'm going to be traveling to Taiwan, so I'm going to be calling my carrier to see if I can kind of temporarily suspend my account, so that I can turn off roaming and deactivate that SIM while I'm traveling. There is a way on the phones to turn off the roaming section on this as well. It's usually in your settings section of your phone under cellular. As far as the airplane mode is concerned, the airplane mode, when you turn that on, basically stops all of the connections going out to the internet, and data for that matter. So when you do turn that on, it means there's no Bluetooth, there's no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, and no cellular things going on. That's fine in that regard as you're flying, but the one thing you do want to discuss with your carrier as well is if you can't get a SIM card for your destination, have a little chat with your carriers as well about what roaming options they may have. I know some of them can kind of get a little expensive, which is why I sometimes opt to just kind of shut off the roaming for my phone and then just use the data and phone calls from the place that I am visiting. It will differ from country to country and carrier to carrier as you're visiting them. Any additional experience?
No, it's really just a case of being diligent. And I know if you do foresee you needing the service overseas, it's great to reach out to your carrier initially as well. Often they have, albeit still reasonably expensive, but slightly more favorable deals if you prepare ahead of time. In the case of Freedom, they have like an international roaming package you can add for a month. So yeah, if it firsthand as well, I can say that sometimes it's worth investing in those packages, because there's nothing worse than arriving in a new country, not knowing where you're going and being at the mercy of other people and things. So the ability to just whip your phone out, use Apple Maps, get directions, find great restaurants and things to do, actually makes the experience a little better from my perspective as well. So look into it if it's something that you think will be required. All right, next question. So there's it kind of groups a couple together here, but there's a couple people inquiring about traveling to the UK and Europe and the requirement for multiple services depending on where you are. Obviously, Europe has lots of land borders. Each country has different services. So in the case of Laurie's question, if I'm traveling to the UK, Ireland and France, does the same eSIM work for all countries? What is the cost? I bought a physical SIM card in Mexico last year for $10 and got 3 weeks of use from it. What is the cost difference between the physical and eSIM?
Well, that's actually kind of cool. It will differ from place to place. I've had a few customers, and I've also been kind of looking myself. If you're visiting multiple countries, um, you're going to want to search the internet a little bit for this, because I'm starting to see a couple of different companies that are starting to offer, like for Europe, say. Um, there are some products now where you can sign up with some of these services, and they've got deals with multiple carriers in different countries. So you've only got one service to pay for. They're typically a little bit more expensive, but it kind of alleviates the hassle of going to country and having to go set up SIM cards and things of that nature for different countries. Again, I haven't personally used it, but I've had a few customers that have found some companies that do offer that service. Um, but let's say, like for Europe in particular, like UK, France, and stuff like that, there are a few companies that do it. So you're going to need to search the web for that as well. Um, the other thing to kind of be mindful of as well, I know that when I traveled Southeast Asia, when I was going to different places like Cambodia, Thailand, there were at least about 6 different places that have different phone carriers and the like. So one of the things that was a bit of a pain, and you have to check this ahead of time, is to see if some of these packages are available to travelers. I know when I first got to Cambodia, you had to be a resident in some of these places to participate in some of their cellular services. So it's a really good idea to double check before you go which carriers are offering which services and at which prices. Additionally, as well, like I said, in Southeast Asia, there were also a couple of other companies that gave you some data pucks and stuff like that as well. I can't speak to their pricing and whatnot, but it really does kind of make it easier to cross borders and still be connected with your data. So you've got, all your internet abilities as you're traveling around as well. So do have a look. I know there's some out there, and it's probably worth, you will be paying a little bit more, I think, but it is definitely worth it if it makes the traveling a little bit hassle-free.
Thanks, Seabass. So question from Todd so really just further to that question, Todd, regarding whether you require multiple eSIMs. There's a product that I'm not familiar with, but was brought to my attention called Airalo, which is Airalo. And this company kind of seems to specialize in a service that would be really suited to Europe. Essentially, it gives you access to many eSIMs across lots of different carriers. So for those traveling to Europe, I'd strongly recommend you look into Airalo. Being from the UK, I can definitely say that you would likely, unless you had a specific service, you would likely require multiple SIM cards. In some cases, I know some carriers do cross multiple borders, but it would be recommended to have a look, and I definitely check out this Airalo product, purely because when you are doing lots of moving around, having that flexibility and the option to not sort of go and get a new eSIM everywhere you land is super useful. So please check that out. And that spelling again is Airalo, and it may be just what those people traveling to Europe are looking for.
Yeah, I think that it is a really good selection here, because I'm just looking at their website too, and they've got, looks to be about 3 different types of products: local eSIMs, regional eSIMs, and global SIMs. So that would seem to me to suggest that it might be one of those, hey, one price, multiple country kind of setup. So that's a great ad. Thank you for letting us know about that one. I'm going to look into that myself.
Yeah, it's something that one of the team at Simply has mentioned a few times, and some of the pricing is around 10 gigabytes of data in the US for 30 days was $20 US. So just a rough indication of the pricing, really. I think we can all see that that's very reasonable. And just having a look also, you can get as little as 3 gigabytes for around $10. So to put that in context for you, that would be more than enough for a short trip to use maps, look up restaurants, get some reviews as places to go. That isn't gonna hit the pocket, but means that you can have all that convenience and stuff you're used to. Because let's be honest, we're all used to being fully connected all the time. And the moment we're not, I'll speak for myself. I don't know what to do. So yeah, Aurelo looks like something to pursue. Please take a look. It looks like a good service.
I might have to take a look at that as well, because it looks like they got multiple countries available as well.
Okay, so lots of questions sort of around the same thing as well. If you have anything else on the tip of your tongue, please do pop it in the question section. Just to clarify for you, Donna, there, during airplane modes, whilst you are on a flight and you are using airplane mode, Bluetooth is still functional. So just to let you know there, if in case that wasn't clear, you would still be able to use like your Bluetooth headphones. Airplane mode wouldn't impact that. It more just impacts the phone's attempts to connect to a cellular or a Wi-Fi based connection. Just to clear that up for a few folks there. So yeah, and again, Ralph has got wonderful things to say about Aurelo as well. So thank you, Ralph. Having not used it firsthand, it's great to get anyone's input on that product as well. Awesome, guys. So I think we're getting there in terms of time now. If we do have any more questions, though, please do pop it in. Now is a great time to do it. Normally we're inundated at this point, so we must have really covered everything today, Seabass.
You got a few things in there for sure.
Nice. Oh, just a little bit more information on Aurelo as well. To put it in context, Telus charges around $11 a day to use your cellular service in the US and $14 a day in Europe. So yeah, Aurelo's definitely stacking up as like the most cost-effective option there. Oh, Margot's question, can all devices be charged as wireless?
That is a great question. That is where the Furrow product comes in. So not all of them, but the vast majority of Apple's devices, I think starting from the iPhone 10 and on, supports wireless charging. And sorry, 8. And with that, there were 2 types. So the Furrow one will allow for 2 things. I believe this one also has the MagSafe. Yeah, it does have the MagSafe. But if you don't have a MagSafe phone and you do have something like the iPhone 8, the iPhone 11, and the 10 that don't have the magnetic one, you can still use this and drop that on the wireless pad and it will charge as well. AirPods, there's so many air things. The AirPods, all of them have wireless charging. There were a few early on where there was wireless and wired versions, but these will work on the charging pads as well. The same one, in the Furrow product, there is a one for the wireless charging for the AirPods, the phone, and the watch. So most of those products from Apple will do the trick. If you've got any non-Apple ones as well, this still supports fast charging or key charging, which basically will work with the Android phones and non-Apple ones as well, providing they've got the wireless charging abilities on there as well. But again, I can't speak enough about this. I'm excited to kind of have so much less kit just bringing us along. So I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Seabass. Yes, Margot, it does charge the watch as well. Actually, the awesome thing about this product is it has the standalone MagSafe charger for the watch. The reason that kind of adds to the value piece is that individual charger alone is $40 or $50 from Apple, and it's included on here. So yeah, it's perfect for that. The total output of this product is 15 watts, and it's quite clever how it distributes that wattage across the three products. So it's 7.5 watts allocated to the phone, 2.5 watts allocated to the watch, and then the remaining 5 watts allocated to the AirPods. So this thing is super nice. Not only does it collapse down, like the benefits of this product really extends past travel as well. Like if you own these three things, this is a great thing to have on your desk too. You can pop it in a drawer once you're finished. You can take it with you if you need to. And the price point is really good. We as a company are very happy to see this. It's something that our customers have asked for, and I know all of us as Apple users were pretty stoked to see something that could charge everything all in one go. So it was pretty good. Grab one whilst you can. Okay, everyone. I think there's been enough opportunity for questions. Just to say, Kim, yes, like our backup seminar, we have recorded this one, and we will be posting it for viewing later on as well.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for joining us here at Simply Seminars again. We would really like to thank our sponsors, Logic, for providing us some really cool kit and providing us some wicked products here that is going to help our travels.
We will also be announcing the winners right now as well for the prize draw. The winners today for our great Logix and Furrow products. So as Seabass mentioned a few times, sponsors today are Logix and Furrow. So these are the guys that have very kindly given us the product to give away today. Okay, so the winners are Julie Dong. Will be the person that wins the I believe it's the 20,000 milliamp power bank. Bob Johnson wins our second prize. Judy Thomas wins our third prize. Janice Gunn wins our fourth prize. Cheryl Andrusco is our fifth prize winner. Anne McLean is our sixth prize winner, and Wendy Pottery is our seventh prize winner. Now, I'm just going to double check. That is all the prizes allocated. Oh, no, great. We have one more. So let me just refer back to the random draw sheet. So number 8, Carol McFarlane. So Carol, we will be asking you guys if you can reach out to our web address, which is, our email address, which is seminar@simply.ca, and we can arrange delivery of the prizes to your local Simply store, and you can pick them up from there. All right, that website, that email address is seminar@simply.ca, and the winners are from top to bottom: Julie Dong, Bob Johnston, Judy Thomas, Janice Gunn, Cheryl Andrusco, Anne McLean, Wendy Pottery, and Carol McFarlane. So if you guys can please email seminar@simply.ca, we'll get those prizes out to you. Thanks very much, everyone, for attending, and stand by for our next announcement. Seabass is away, so it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks for our next seminar. Any ideas, feedback, or input, please let us know. The email address again is seminar@simply.ca. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.